It was a typical afternoon at the local park, but for Jasmine, a 12-year-old girl with a determined spirit, it was just another day trying to be heard. As she played near the swings, a police officer walked by, chuckling to himself as he overheard a conversation between Jasmine and a group of kids. "My mom's in Special Forces," Jasmine had said, her voice filled with pride. The officer, overhearing, laughed loudly. "Special Forces, huh?" he mocked, glancing at her like she was a child with an overactive imagination. "What? Is she going to take down an army with you?" The kids laughed too, unsure whether they should stand with her or join in on the joke. But Jasmine stood her ground, her eyes narrowing as she muttered under her breath, "You'll see." Little did anyone know within the hour, Jasmine's words would prove to be more than just a tale of childhood bravado. Jasmine didn't give the officer's mocking laugh a second thought, though it stung more than she cared to admit. She had always admired her mom, tough, unshakable, and never one to back down from a fight. Her mom, Sergeant Elaine Carter, wasn't just any soldier. She was in the Special Forces, a shadow in the night, a woman of few words but immeasurable strength. Jasmine had heard the stories, seen the medals, and watched her mom leave for missions that seemed too important to explain to a young girl. But Jasmine knew one thing for sure. Her mom didn't need to talk about it. She let her actions speak for themselves. The officer's laugh echoed in her mind as she walked home. As she neared her block, a feeling stirred in her. She had always stood behind her mom's strength, but today, something was different. Today, the officer's words were personal. She wanted to prove him wrong. She wanted to show him that her mom's strength wasn't just some tall tale. As Jasmine approached her house, she saw the familiar black SUV parked out front. Her mom's vehicle. But something was off. The engine wasn't idling, and the windows were slightly tinted, making it hard to see inside. The door was ajar as though someone had just left in a hurry. The feeling in Jasmine's chest tightened. It wasn't just another day. Jasmine's heart raced as she walked toward the SUV, every step echoing in the quiet street. She called out for her mom, but her voice seemed to disappear in the still air. No response. The door creaked as she pushed it open. Inside, the leather seats were empty, but the faint smell of her mom's cologne lingered. Jasmine's eyes scanned the car. Her stomach dropped when she saw a piece of paper on the dashboard. It was partially crumpled, as though someone had hastily discarded it. She picked it up and unfolded it. It was a note from her mom with just a few words scribbled hastily. "Emergency. Stay home, don't trust anyone." Her mind raced. What was going on? Why would her mom leave a note like this? And who had she been meeting? The officer's words echoed in her mind again. "Special Forces, huh?" Jasmine clenched the note in her hand. This wasn't just some regular mission. Something wasn't right. Just as she was about to close the door and head inside, a car pulled up. Jasmine froze. It was a black sedan, low and sleek, its windows tinted. A man in a dark suit stepped out, his face unfamiliar. He didn't notice Jasmine at first, as he walked briskly toward her house, speaking into a walkie-talkie. Her pulse quickened. The man wasn't a friend. He was part of something bigger. Jasmine ducked behind the SUV, watching him. She needed to know more. Was this connected to her mom? She had to be careful. But she also had to act. There was no telling how far this could go. The man reached the door, knocking loudly. Jasmine's blood ran cold as she realized she wasn't just witnessing a simple visit. This was the beginning of something much darker. Jasmine's breath caught in her throat as the man knocked again, harder this time. She glanced around, her eyes darting for an escape. She couldn't just sit and wait anymore. Her mom's warning echoed in her mind. "Stay home. Don't trust anyone." She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to steady her nerves. Then, without a second thought, she bolted towards the back of the house. She couldn't risk the man seeing her, but she needed to know what was happening. Crouching low, she darted around the side, making her way to the rear window. She knelt down and peeked inside. The man was now talking to someone inside. Jasmine couldn't see who it was, but she could hear the tone in their voices, sharp, tense. There was no mistaking it. This wasn't a casual visit. Then, Jasmine saw something that made her blood run cold. From behind the closed curtains, the man pulled out something shiny, a badge. It wasn't the badge of any ordinary officer. It was the emblem of a higher authority. She'd seen it before, on the rare occasions when her mom returned from a mission. She had told Jasmine that those were the people who ran the secretive operations of the Special Forces. This wasn't a random visit. This was a government operation, and her mom was right in the middle of it. Before Jasmine could process the situation, the door swung open. She quickly ducked lower, pressing herself against the cold brick of the house. She didn't dare to breathe as the man stepped out, his eyes scanning the surroundings. He was looking for something, or someone. Jasmine's heart pounded in her chest, her thoughts racing. Where was her mom? Why hadn't she been here to protect her? She glanced back at the SUV, feeling the weight of her mom's absence in her gut. Suddenly, the ground beneath her shifted. She felt the heavy presence of someone else approaching. She turned and saw a figure she never expected, her mom, Sergeant Elaine Carter. Jasmine's throat tightened as she saw her mom stride confidently towards the front door, her tactical gear hidden beneath a long black coat. There was no sign of fear in her expression, just unwavering resolve. The man who had been knocking on their door turned to face her, his posture stiffening. Without a word, he stepped aside. Elaine didn't need to explain herself. She didn't need to justify anything. Her presence spoke volumes. In that moment, Jasmine understood. Her mom wasn't just a soldier. She was the shield, the protector, the force behind every whispered word. She had kept her promises, and now Jasmine had witnessed the power that lay in her mom's world, the world that no one had ever taken seriously. Not even the mocking officer from earlier. Jasmine stood, her mind made up. This was no longer a game. Her mom had the strength, the authority, the control, and now Jasmine was ready to take that same strength on, standing shoulder to shoulder with her. Elaine stepped past the man at the door, her eyes locking with Jasmine's. For a brief moment, everything stood still. Jasmine could see the weight in her mom's gaze, the unspoken words, the silent assurance that everything would be okay. But it was more than that. Elaine wasn't just returning to the house. She was returning to a life that Jasmine had only ever heard about in stories, one filled with secrets, power, and strength. The strength that now had to be shared with her daughter because Jasmine was no longer the child she had been. "Jas, get inside," Elaine said softly, her voice steady but edged with urgency. Jasmine didn't move at first. She stood her ground, letting the weight of her mother's words settle in her chest. "No," Jasmine said firmly, her voice gaining strength. "I want to understand. I want to know what you've been doing. I need to know why I couldn't be part of this before." Elaine's face softened for a moment, and she stepped closer, kneeling down to Jasmine's level. "I never wanted you to get involved in this world," she said quietly. "It's dangerous, it's hard, and there's a lot I can't explain, but I promised you I'd always protect you. And now you know the truth. You know where I stand, and you'll never be alone in this fight." Jasmine's heart swelled. For the first time, she wasn't just a bystander to the world her mom lived in, she was stepping into it. Not as a child looking for answers, but as someone who could stand beside her mother, shoulder to shoulder. Elaine took her hand and led her to the front door, where the man in the black suit stood waiting. His posture had changed, his eyes weren't as certain now. He recognized who Elaine was, but more importantly, he recognized who Jasmine was becoming. Without a word, Elaine signaled to the man, and he nodded before walking away. Jasmine watched him go, her gaze unwavering. She felt something shift within her. She had always been told she couldn't be part of this world of strength, of power, of quiet revolution. But now Jasmine knew better. She had the power to fight back. And this was just the beginning. As she watched the man disappear into the distance, she turned to her mom. "I'm ready," she said with quiet determination. Elaine's lips curled into a small smile, pride filling her eyes. "Let's show them what we're made of." And in that moment, as the sun dipped low and the day faded, Jasmine realized that this wasn't just her mom's fight anymore. It was theirs, together. Takeaway. When the world tries to diminish you, when they laugh at your dreams, your strength, and your truth, don't back down. Stand tall, stand proud, and fight for what you know is right. Jasmine and her mom showed that no matter what anyone says, the truth, strength, and power are always within reach. What will you do when they laugh at your strength, when they underestimate you?